Let's just start with a quick recap of minimalism. I think that there are potentially better words to describe myself, but minimalism is the easiest. It's the easiest one to understand because it's got context, the context of the design language and the art movement, to back up the new age, douchey meanings. More to the point would be the term essentialism or essentialist. I think this fits better. I'm not after owning the fewest things I possibly can. I'm just after owning as many or as few things as I need to reasonably go about my business. I think that these very niche, specific terms like essentialist can elicit strange reactions from people. Although, to be fair, I wouldn't actually call myself a minimalist ever in public. It feels oddly embarrassing. So I guess I'm not super comfortable with any of these terms. I will, for ease and to avoid confusion, refer to myself as a minimalist for the purpose of this video, though, trust me, it'll just be simpler that way. I am a minimalist. I don't hate things. I don't think that's what it's about at all. But at home, I own very few things. If we're just talking about things in my house, I could probably move house by train as opposed to, hiring a moving company. I'm also somewhat of a digital minimalist. I don't subscribe to that many streaming services. I don't have a huge digital footprint either in terms of my personal life. The thing is that at work, the opposite is basically true. I have a lot of things. I have a pretty huge digital footprint. And this has got me thinking, is being a minimalist a personality trait? Or is it just something that we do sometimes? Are you a minimalist in the same way that you might be an optimist? Or are you a minimalist in the same way that you might be a hiker, for example? Is it something pervasive that you'll always fall back on as a default? Or is it more akin to a hobby? Like, is it the opposite of being a collector of some sort? So I reread one of my favorite books on the subject, Goodbye Things. A quick aside, this book is by far the most viewed book review I've ever done. Check it out up here. So today's book is Goodbye Things. Also, Peter McKinnon just spoke about it in a couple of his last videos while he was freeing himself up from some of the excess camera equipment he had. So I guess it might have found new relevance. This is one of the books that has a permanent place in my little library. It's the kind of book that's worth reading again and again as a reminder to be mindful of how owning things affects you. In the words of Tyler Durden, the things you own end up owning you. If minimalism is a character trait, how can you be a minimalist at home and not be one at work? But on the other hand, if it's more akin to a hobby, how is it such a deep-seated feeling for so many people? As usual with things like this, I'm guessing that it's in sort of a grey area where the truth actually exists. Relaxed versus prepared. At home, my goal is to be comfortable and to be relaxed, whereas my goal at work is to be useful and productive. This means that at home, the necessity is to have as few things as possible. The goal is to reduce the amount of time it takes to tidy and clean, to sort and to store. Having fewer things at home to me is calming and it makes my life easier. Reducing the amount of items in the kitchen, for example, on the work surfaces means that I have fewer things to clean and I've got fewer things to move to clean under them, to clean the kitchen surfaces. It means that I've got less things to sort through when I'm looking for something specific. It means that with digital minimalism, at least, I've got fewer choices when it comes to watching a film and I end up spending less time playing Menu Hero and I get less decision fatigue. The flip side at work is the need to be prepared for the job at hand. I get a sense of calm knowing I'll have the tools to do my job to the best of my ability. Worrying that I will struggle because I can't get the mic in the right spot or I need to have more light, more power in my light when I take a photo, well, that'll make me feel bad, which seems like the antithesis of the goal of minimalism. It's not about making you feel bad, it's about feeling better. Don't get me wrong, I hardly feel like I've got too much stuff at work. I think that I've got just enough to cover my needs at least, but I think it would probably fail a visual inspection by a minimalist. So maybe that's where minimalism fails, not with the people who go too far and treat it as some sort of challenge, or with the people who shun it and hoard items like they're going to go away sometime soon. It's in the practical minimalists who have part of their lives where there will be what ifs, times when they have to collect things, they have to store stuff and hoard stuff and keep that stuff, the stuff that doesn't spark joy. This is probably the point where we all should just agree that these labels are flawed and just move on with our lives. But there's still something that I need to know. Why does it feel good to me when I've got less things? It's a feeling that it can't just be something that I've learned, something that popped into existence in my brain when I first watched the documentary Minimalism. It has to be deeper than that. I know that this isn't the case for everyone. I spoke to my friend a while back after the first time I read Goodbye Things, and his response to the subject was, but I like things. And so do I for the most part, but I feel better when I've got fewer of the things that I like. I feel better when I've got less choices. Maybe it's something that I've learned, maybe it's taught behaviour. It might be like a base habit, like James Clear talks about in his book Atomic Habits. Maybe the act of streamlining my possessions is in some way an unintended consequence of some habit that I've built. It could be that given time and a change of habit, I might become some sort of hoarder, although I doubt it. But I do suspect that there's something deeper going on in all of us. And I think, like is said in Goodbye Things, I think it's got something to do with our dealing with nostalgia, processing nostalgia, as well as some sort of leftover from humanity's early days as hunter-gatherers, where the desire to hold on to things was the thing that helped us survive. Holding on to stone tools that took time and effort to forge makes a lot of sense. But I also think there must have been those back in the same era of humanity whose desire was the exact opposite. There must have been a gene or a character trait that helped those who wanted to move quickly and easily because they could carry fewer things. Something that got diluted and mingled together with the more dominant, like collecting and hoarding genes. I'm in danger of going a bit pseudoscience here, so I'll leave that for now. It could also be that the need to rid ourselves of excess is an academic but somehow like automatic response to the way we've changed our environment. Academic in that it's an intelligent response, but automatic as in a lot of us don't do it consciously for those reasons. Maybe wanting less is what will save humanity. Doubtful, but maybe. That got real deep, didn't it? Real deep, real quick. Laters.